What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets REACT, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction.
Let's
Super excited about this video. If you're new to us
and we're new to you,
make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell
because we're on the road to 200K.
And we cannot get there without you guys, all right? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Let's get it.
Well, I had Akon on my show a bunch of times. Me and him go way back. And one of the things that he said that got people a little bit riled up was that he said in Africa, people don't really think about slavery, whereas in America, they do. How was slavery really looked at out there?
Well, in Senegal, we've kind of overcome the thought of slavery. We don't even think about it. The only time we think about it, honestly, is when we're doing tours at Goat Island. You know, outside of that, people have lived and moved and way beyond the slavery concept and idea and mind state.
And a lot of people got really upset. And this has always been sort of like the African, Black American kind of conflict that in 2023 is still around. But what is your take when you hear statements like that?
Yes.
Whew, okay. So, before we even start, first of all, Michael Blackson is one of our favorite comedians.
Yeah.
Before we even get into that, when people say, oh, get over it, because there was a comment on the video, and the video wasn't even about that recently.
It's
and somebody
funny,
was
right?
talking about they don't understand why Black Americans always talk about slavery. What I want people to get out their minds is that this ain't no ancient history. Okay? Slaves, enslaved people still walk the earth. This country.
Still impacted. 100%.
When my grandmother was living, my grandmother is still living. My grandmother is 91 years old. Okay? People still lived on plantations when my mother was living. My mama is in her 50s. Okay? There is a recent history in a certain state, a couple states, where people were still living on those plantations and didn't even know that they were slaves.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't understand the difference between being who we are versus a slave.
Yeah.
Our oldest child is 10 years old, and there's still people who was living on plantations, okay?
Yeah.
It's not an ancient history.
Nah, that's enough right there.
Man, I 100%, agree to some of that. And I think what happened back in a lot of countries in Africa were all colonized by different countries. Okay. Ghana, Nigeria, most of those English-speaking countries were colonized by England.
Yeah.
You know,
Senegal was France.
Yada yada.
Yada yada.
All right. So when they colonized those countries, you know, I guess when slavery was set up over, they tried to like cover it up. To me, in my opinion, you know, I've been going home and doing a lot of research. Mind you, you know, I'm from there. I was born in Africa. I was born in West Africa, where they came and they took my people and made them slaves and through the, you know, that whole process.
Yeah.
But I didn't know much about slavery till I came to America. So why? Why they didn't teach me this in the 3rd grade and 4th grade
In Africa.
in Africa? Why was it being covered up? Why are they trying to make things like, and that's the big problem.
Oh, so you think that's what's happening? You think that Africans actually are trying to cover up slavery themselves?
Well, no, I think they were brainwashed by their colonizers. And that's why, because I'm not sure how much, you know, I have a school now. I know we didn't get to that yet, but I built a school. And,
Shout out.
you know, I was trying to get an idea, like how much African history has been taught in these schools. How much these kids know about themselves.
Yeah.
I want my kids to know about themselves, know about everything that's happened to your people from beginning to the end.
I mean, I can tell you one thing, right? And this is from an outsider's point of view. Like I was an immigrant. I came over to America when I was about 5, and I lived in America my whole life. But in 2000, I went to Africa for the first time. I went to Senegal. And the one thing I realized when walking around Senegal was that there was a sense as you meet the people and, you know, you correspond with the people who live there, you have this kind of this overbearing sense of the people there know who they are, they know where they came from, they're comfortable. You know what I mean? They could trace their families back
As everyone
hundreds
should be
of
able
years.
to. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There isn't a level of uncomfortability that I think Black Americans have because of the history of slavery in this country was, I think, different than the slavery that was happening in Africa. You know what I mean? It was just at a much greater and I think more brutal level. So you have this sort of uneasiness that happens in America that when you go over there, you're like, oh, I'm the outsider here. You know, the white guy is the foreigner. The white guy is the guy who's just here visiting. Everyone else feels comfortable with who they are. And it was a very interesting feeling. And it made me realize how distinctly racist America is, which you never really think about it because I've always been in America, right? So it was, I think it's something that until you go over there, you don't really understand. I mean, do you agree with what I'm saying?
100% agree, especially for the Black Americans. I think every Black American, if you could afford $1,000 round trip ticket, go home, pick a country.
Any country.
Pick any country. I mean, go to the West. Let's go to the West where, most of the slaves came from. Go to the West. You are welcome. I'm not sure where Blacks got the idea that Africans don't like them. It was a very good point. It was a point in life, even to now, where some Blacks feel like they don't like us. They think that the Africans are better than them or whatever.
Well, you got to understand this too, though. Not that Africans try to hide history, but the fact that the history isn't as spoken about out there because
it isn't taught.
It's not taught, and not just that, they still have homes and homes and homes they can dig back and you know what I'm saying? They got family trees they can dig into without having to be confused or conflicted with where I'm from. When that question starts to arise, then you start to wonder why. And when you start to asking why, then you start to be like, dang, we was really in a blender. I mean, a blender that did not stop. You know what I'm saying? So that alone is the separation between us saying that, for us, slavery was so impactful, and for people in Africa being like, it's not that it wasn't impactful for y'all, but y'all aren't conflicted with the confusion of, history with knowing who y'all and where y'all come from. The traditions are still real. It's still in y'all, in y'all family trees when y'all get to do what y'all have to do. You know?
Their culture is still alive there.
100%.
And not saying that our culture isn't alive here. It's just we had to create a whole new identity of who these people were. Speaking of us. Okay, so a while back I made this analogy, and I made this analogy as if a kidnapper came and get a child and then took a child to this different home. And all this time, would the mama of that child still say that is no longer my child? Or would the mama of the child be like, that is still my child, no matter
how many years?
No matter how many years they haven't been with me, that is my blood. And so I feel like with Africans, it's, they're taught the history, and I'm just saying this based off of what I have been told from Africans and what I have studied myself. They are taught about slavery, but they don't have a connection to it because those people are no longer here. Whereas we're taught that you are descendant from these people. Your people came here to be slaves. Yeah. And we see the end of that. I want to talk about Clotilda for a minute, because Clotilda was an illegal slave ship that got here after slavery, right? In Africa Town. What state is it? Alabama? I think it's Alabama. I believe it's Alabama. If it's not Alabama, let me know. But Africa Town, Clotilda, the people, that is the last slave ship to enter the United States. Those people, the descendants of the Clotilda, and the descendants of the family who enslaved the descendants of the Clotilda just sat down for the first time in history. Tears want to flow out my eyes from saying that. For the first time in history, a descendant of a slave master and a descendant of a enslaved person, two families sat and met together, and they are talking about making it right. Okay? So as descendants of enslaved people in the United States, we look at land, we look at businesses that were created on and ran by and all that by people we are descendant of.
Right.
We could still see these people who are millionaires today people who own this plot of land, this plot of land, this plot of land. And no, they would not be millionaires has it not been for the people we are descendant from.
Yeah.
And yet, anytime in history when we came together, because people want to say the black community is just they want handouts and this and that.
Nah, we was a Sawyer. We was the reason everything was built, and then they was the reason why they had the paper to keep it for themselves.
But can we talk about when moments in history when we tried to build up our communities, have our own this, our own that.
It would get torn down.
Mobs came in, tore it down. Can we talk about when? Ooh, I got a tree light on this next one. But can we talk about when we established programs to build up our people, benevolent societies, so where our people can depend on each other? Can we talk about that and then how thrown on those communities? Okay. Because people want to talk about how the black community is just so poor and so, we can't get together. But the moments in history when we have gotten together, it's always been torn down. Can we talk about how we have never received reparations to help build up our community? Can we talk about that? Like, can we really have real conversations? And I don't even know what we on anymore. But, this is a passionate topic for us. When I was talking about the people who were still on the plantations, slavery didn't end with slavery. There was sharecropping after that, okay?
Yeah. Well, the history is long.
It is.
Into America, as a kid, it was a little bad experience for me because, American kids could be very harsh at times. I mean, they clowned me. I had an accent. I was darker than most of them. And it's sad because all the black kids knew was Africa was just a bush, everybody working around naked because that's what they saw.
Yeah.
They didn't show them much. They were, they didn't, but now, that's why I say if you're grown now, take a trip back home. We love black Americans, and the governments up there are giving them lands for like minimum price. Like everybody's welcome to come back.
Yeah. Ghana had that big thing recently, right?
Yeah, returning to Ghana.
Yes, and I want to say this. Y'all already know we keep it real on this channel. We don't fabricate nothing. We don't try to sugarcoat nothing. All black Americans, African Americans do not hate Africans. And all Africans do not hate African Americans, black Americans. Some people be like, don't call me African American, baby.
Nah, real talk.
Whatever you want to be called, you're black.
At the end of the day.
Okay, so let's continue to dispel those lies. And the number one thing that people say is, oh, they sold us. Have you actually looked at the history yourself, or are you just repeating things? And I'm not saying, oh, it wasn't true. I'm saying, have you actually looked at it? Have you actually placed yourself there?
I don't think that's an excuse, though, to say. You know what I'm saying? Because people like to stand on that and be like, but this is a pivotal moment in history, too, that y'all don't like to talk about. But in actuality, it's not the only thing that led up to them having to be that type of person to their own people. You know what I'm saying? Right. It was a leading up to. And you got to understand it from the beginning to the midpoint of it to why things was going. And then even in history alone, there wasn't just selling each other. It was because of wars. Right. You understand? So it was like winning people over because of these lands that they was capturing as well. So it's a lot of ins and outs that people don't like to look into because they like to just focus on a part of it that say, well, what about the setting of your own people?
Right.
So, yeah.
And that's not an excuse, but I mean, if we're going to talk about what about the selling of your own people, okay, what about you going and do whatever to your cousin and your cousin got to do time now? What about that? Since we want to talk about it, because that's essentially the same thing if you look at it, honestly.
It's conflicted, though. You know what I'm saying? Because one can't exist without the other. So the stories is all kind of twisted ways, bro.
Ghana's still happening. Ghana has lands for like,
thing, yeah.
If you're American, if you're black gold, it's a land for like $1,500. They have a land for you near Cape Coast, which is like Cape Coast is in fact where that old castle was, where slavery were taken from. Come and grab this land back. That's where you belong. This is your land. So yeah, man, blacks are welcome. We love them. And let it go and learn the history of what happened. Mind you, these people were captured. These slaves, they came with guns. We didn't have guns. We couldn't fight.
Yeah.
They overpowered us with guns.
Right.
You know,
and they also bribed some of the leaders to sell off their enemies and stuff like that. Yeah.
You know, so it was
everyone
That's your
had
part
their
of the
hands
story
in
right there. I
doing
need to go
business,
check out the
honestly.
bribing part.
You know what I'm saying? No one was really clean when it came to the slave trade, unfortunately.
Well, I mean,
no, I don't like that comment saying that no one was really clean. People invaded land. They went to the land to make these deals, to have these deals even exist. So yes, I feel like people were at a point of their life and doing what they needed to do. You know. So yeah.
And then also, you know, to talk about the topic of the video is about how we focus on slavery and they don't. But I feel when we talk about that, I feel the same way that Africans, the topic of colonialism is still there too. You know, they talk about that because for a lot of people, that is recent history of their countries gaining independence. So
A lot of them.
the way we feel about slavery is the way they feel about colonialism. You know, so it's just learning about each other, our histories, our people, and our culture will heal that.
Even to the laws that we had existing, is very similar. You know what I'm saying? Even from the terms that we're using, is very backwards. You know what I'm saying? So what we didn't enjoy, like what we didn't like to be called, you know, in Africa they're using some of these terms, and then understanding that y'all say that out here, we'll be like, nah, we wouldn't even, grandma would not like that. You know what I'm saying?
At all.
So it's like it's so weird, bro. It's twisted again.
I said, it's a divide and conquer. That's why you have to challenge yourself to want to learn about other people.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, the let's talk about the wraps in our hair. We're from Louisiana. We rap Louisiana all day, every day on the channel, right?
Facts.
But there was a law in Louisiana where black women could not even wear their hair out, so we wore wraps. You know, just looking at that history and looking at in Africa, they love wraps. You know,
love it, yeah,
and so because we had that law. You know the type of people we are. We gonna make something out of nothing, right? So we made these elaborate wraps and things, and that's why sometimes y'all will see me wear a wrap on. I wear it for protection sometimes.
but what it did was it just made the black woman even more beautiful. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because it enhanced it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and then they're looking like, bro, we can't win with this.
Right, we made it worse. They look even beautiful.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I'm not gonna blame too much on it poor people that trying to make a living, whatever, which was completely wrong.
Right, but I'm saying when you're selling off your enemies to the colonizers to be
talking about the war part of it
around the world, you got to take a little bit of credit.
But I mean,
you got to take a little bit of blame for that as well.
Yes, but the way the slaves were treated even before they left. I mean, if we get a chance, go to the slave castle, do the tour.
Well, I went in Senegal. I went to the place where it was like the slave distribution center. You know, I'm talking about the cannons. Yeah.
Is it right by the water?
Right by the water. There's that huge, like a shark tooth kind of.
Yeah, I haven't met the one in Senegal, but I've been to the.
No, it was sad, man. I started to cry there. It was sad. It was a sad place to think that this was.
Go learn your history, you know. And
humans were treated like
it's a lot, y'all. It's a lot of disgusting stories that just continuously happens and comes out like that you just have no clue about as existing. Like it's a lot.
But I want to say that it's just like they have slave distribution centers. We have them as well.
Yeah.
So being able to connect that, like we live in the South. You know, it was very prevalent in the South. So we think about things differently. You know, and not saying that it wasn't prevalent in the North. You know, because, baby, everybody was trying to get North and South. Just escape. All right? So everybody played a role.
I'm just thinking about it because even after slavery ended, people were still being treated as slaves. I'm talking about when the hanging, when they couldn't even walk in, you couldn't even look a certain way. Like, those rules were still existing when they thought they were free then. So it's like it never truly ended even then. I just got upset with that a little bit because I was thinking about it like it's a lot of terrible moments, bro.
Yeah, I mean, the anti-lynching law just went into effect in the 2020s.
Wow, see that?
Okay, so that's why it just irritates me when people say, "Oh, y'all should get over it." Look at what's going on now. We have a case that is in in court right now. They are trying to take out race-based programs because there is a program that wanted to fund black women businesses. So if we lose that case, imagine what else we're going to lose. We're going to lose funding for our HBCUs. Okay, so for the people who don't know, historically black college and universities.
Right.
We're gonna lose anything that was implemented to shorten the divide and get us some equity in this country. It's like everything is just reverting back. It's a scary time.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, a lot of people like to say, well, so what is the answers? What are we going to do? What is the change y'all guys want to see happen? It's like, at the end of the day, of course, love one another, stop hating. You know what I'm saying? Support one another, stop stealing from one another, stop being so dismissive to your own brother whenever you see him, or your sister whenever you see him, because they may be doing better, or they may not be suitable for your season that you're in. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like the support that we have for one another is the most crucial part, because we are in a position where we just don't like each other. You know what I'm saying? If I can say that.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that is true. Like how it's being displayed. I feel like we are more beefed out. We're having more angry moments with one another. The things that's being displayed, or how we view relationships. It's the whole 9 yards of just the existence of what people live for is being, pivoted on, like every single part of it.
Yeah, we need to repair a lot. We need to, a lot of healing. A lot of healing.
Yeah. I thought it was the end of the video.
Yeah, it was fucked up.
Yeah, but I love my black Americans. I mean, without them, I wouldn't be where I am today. They embraced me from the first day. They saw me, and I'm who I am because of Black America. So shout out to Black America, and any one of you always welcome. Go to my house. You can stay in my house.
Yeah,
I mean, you mean
so
that
everyone
though?
can stay at your house. Ghana, is it?
Ghana.
Okay, your house about to be overrun.
I'm not gonna.
Exactly.
You can stay in my house. You can stay in
It's
my
about
house.
to be a crazy ass party at your house, man.
All right, man. Interesting, bro.
Very interesting.
It's the first time I'm hearing about this. Again, Vlad have a lot of stuff going on his platform, but I don't get a chance to really dive into it. So this one I didn't really know about too much of.
Yeah.
So,
I respect Michael Blackson for that, because a lot of times people just look down on our community.
Yeah.
And we could get so much further together. We can get so much further.
I agree.
If we took the time to have effective conversations.
Yeah.
Not a debate, but effective conversations, and stop allowing people to get in the middle of it who is wolves in sheep clothing and try to further that divide. We need to have conversations, not debates. That's my thing.
No, I agree 100%. And this is real for us. I mean, that's why I'm gazing off like this, because I have deeper conversations that I want to advance on in this, but again, I don't want to put too much on here. You know what I'm saying? But I like what you said. It's not about debate, bro. It's not about going at each other's necks, trying to see who sound right, who has the best information, who has the most facts. There's real people out here who are dealing with real problems, and they need real mental healing, because that's the first part of the body. I feel like that can, rewire the rest of the body. You ain't gonna feel like you need to ball your fist when you stand up on side of your brother, because you're thinking ill will towards him. You know what I'm saying? So we got to debunk a lot of our thinking and start to spearhead it in a different angle. And I feel like we'll all be able to come together in a blended way without having to think twice.
Right. Just understand, like, when we get to the topic of slavery and the African American community as a whole, our people went through a lot in this country.
Facts, yeah.
Okay? We can still look at those lands and say, when I was younger, my uncle took me here to go pick tobacco. My aunt took me here to go pick cotton. We still can say that because although slavery ended in 1865, we still were able to go there, pick cotton to make a living when we couldn't make a living anywhere else. So, listen, it's 2023, and I'm saying we, as in we, still could do that in our childhood. Now, I don't know about today. I know you still can't go pick some tobacco, because I remember my uncle, I moved my daddy. Y'all know I always got these stories, right? I moved with my dad, and not my uncle, my godfather. My godfather had called and said, Sierra, you want to go pick some tobacco? And I'm like, go pick some what? And why? Why would I want to go? But yeah, like, you still could go do that today.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
yeah,
that's that, y'all.
Uncomfortable topics once again. Even for us, especially for myself. I mean, the truth is always the truth, but again, some people don't like, to talk about it. But it need to be talked about, even till today.
Right, y'all know once I start rolling, y'all. But we hope you guys enjoyed this video with us. Be sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon.
Peace.